Hello, everyone, and welcome to this special live for the month of February in honor of Black History Month. I'm going to be going live every Tuesday and Thursday. So I'll have a pre-recorded video that's going to come out on Wednesdays, but every Tuesday, Thursday, with the exception of Valentine's Day, I'm going to let you guys get that day off. And that's the 14th. It falls on a Tuesday. So with the exception of Valentine's Day, we are going to go live every Tuesday, Thursday, 6 to 7 p.m. I have guest speakers for most of the days. Today, I'm just by myself. There'll be 2 days, it's just me, but we'll have guest speakers almost every day. Check the community post for the different topics that we're going to discuss. So I hope that you will join me every day. Let's see who's already here. Go ahead and put in the comments where you guys are not calling from, where you guys are joining me from, like what city, what state. And we're going to get into the topic for tonight. But thank you for joining me. If you're catching the replay, please still like and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. And remember to join me this week, every Tuesday and Thursday, 6 to 7 p.m. live. All right. So I'm going to have, like I said, a different topic every day. So the topic for today is representing yourself. So right now, and I've done a lot of videos, just go through my lives on what has caused this home ownership gap, that we don't have as many African Americans with property that own their own home. So we're at about 45%. So you can, that could be from slavery, Jim Crow, housing discrimination, zoning, FHA, redlining, steering, predatory lending, appraisal bias, realtors, all of those things. We have a unique history as Black people in housing. We have a very unique history. If you're not aware of that history, again, I have at least 3 videos where I go in more detail of the history of discrimination, particularly in America, around housing. So that's why I'm making sure I do this month of lives just to address those issues. And so we can get that 45% much higher, because a big part of what we need to do to close that gap a little bit is education, is, putting you in front of people that can answer your questions so you're not fearful. And it's money as well. So a lot of you, we need to start making more money so we can afford the house that we want. So things like that. I'm going to really be focused on that this week. So let's see who's here. So Annette's here. Hi, Shaheedah. Glad to see you and I in Atlanta. Yes, I'm in Atlanta. For those of you guys that don't know, Janelle, be blessed, keep shining, Miss Hill, Houston area real estate agent. Hey to Houston. Montgomery, Alabama. My husband's family is from Alabama. So this is going to be good tonight, you guys. It's going to be good. All right. Pensacola, Florida. And our moderator today, Miss Amin-Ra, is New York. And I'm from the Bronx. I live in Atlanta, but I'm from the Bronx. So every once in a while, the Bronx will come out at me. All right. So good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining. So the topic, I want us to try as much as possible to stay on topic of what we're talking about tonight. And that is if it makes sense to represent yourself. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a little story. Those of you that know me or have been watching my videos, I used to be a teacher. I've been a licensed real estate agent since 2003. The real estate market in like 2006, 7 started not doing so well. So I started substitute teaching. And I wound up working at a school and they wanted to hire me as their business teacher. So I got my master's in business education and I wound up teaching at different schools, 3 different high schools, but for 14 years. Okay. So as part of that, I got back into real estate in 2016 when my husband and I were going to buy a new house. And at the time, I wasn't going to represent myself. I was going to get, because I have to renew my license. I was going to get one of my really good friends. We have my best friend. We have a new construction video on this channel that we did together. But I was going to get her to represent me because I didn't feel like renewing my license because I had been teaching for so long. I didn't want to necessarily get back into real estate, right? So she told me, she's like, represent yourself and keep the commission. Why, just go ahead and renew your license and keep your commission. So one of the things that I did, I went ahead and did that. So I've been, back in the real estate business since 2016. But what started me doing it myself was because, or getting back into it, is because I wanted to represent myself and keep the commission. So we're going to talk about that as a possible. This may not work for everyone, but there's so many things, especially with everything being so much more expensive, and you have to have your down payment, your closing costs, all of your fees, all of that, that this could be for some people, not saying for everybody, but this could be an option for some people. So I wanted to start out these Black History Month lives with this as an option. So I want you to ask me any questions regarding this, and I'm going to talk to you about it. So most lenders will allow you, if you're a licensed agent, let's talk about this. You have to be a licensed agent. They will allow you to use your commission for down payment and closing costs. Now, here in Atlanta, the average house is about $400,000. We're getting like very close to $400,000. So that would equate to about $12,000. And for some of you, that might make sense if you're thinking about going into real estate, or maybe you can represent some other family members, or, you can do something with that money. You could, say, hey, I'm willing to get my real estate license to do that. Now, to get your real estate license, you would have to go to school. There are a lot of online schools. I have one that I recommend. It's going to be in the description of this video. I don't want to put it in the comments and everybody kind of run to that site right now. But that you would go to school. And every state is a little bit different as to how many hours you have to spend in instruction. But imagine in Georgia, I've got maybe 70 something hours. You're sitting down and kind of going through PowerPoints. You're taking little quizzes, right? I would say if you are doing it part-time, so say you have a full-time job, if you are doing it part-time, it'll probably take you about 3 months. I'm assuming you're doing like an hour a day, or maybe you're skipping a day here or there. It probably would take you about 3 months to finish the coursework. Now, if you're not working full time, you can probably get finished with it very quickly, and it may take you about, a month. Okay. So you're going through that coursework. So I would say on the longer end, if you are already working full time, I would say it may take you 3 months to finish the coursework. If you're not working full time or you part time, you have some flexibility, it might take you a month to get finished with the coursework online. And then you have to take the test. So there is a licensing test that you have to take for your state. And then pretty much you are licensed, right? So you're a licensed real estate agent. Now, you have to go under a broker. So hopefully this is making sense. So you get your license, you finish the coursework. All the coursework is done. Then you can sit for your licensing exam, right? And a lot of states, you have to get a 70, maybe a 75. You don't have to get like an A. You can get, a passing grade on this licensing exam. But then you're just a real estate agent. So you have to be under a broker unless you have your broker's license, which as a new agent, you can't get that until usually about 3 years or so after you've been licensed. So you'll have to get under a broker. Now, when we talk about brokers, you see like RE/MAX, Century 21, Coldwell Banker, Keller Williams. Those are all large brokerages. Okay, so you're under them. Now, I would recommend, and this is how I started. I had a transaction broker, meaning for every closing, I just pay a flat rate. Okay, so for every closing, it could be $1 million house, it could be a $100,000 house. I pay $350. Okay. So a transaction broker, put any questions in the chat because I'm going to answer all of these questions. But I have a transaction broker. So meaning, again, the way their brokerage is set up, you pay a set amount, flat amount per closing. Could be a $50,000 house that you close. You're still paying the $350. You close a $10 million house, you're still paying $350. Okay. So those are transaction brokerages. Now I do pay like a monthly fee of about $100 to for the office, like for they used to call them desk fees. I pay about $100 a month for that. So, those are my fees to be under this transaction brokerage. Now I used to, when I first got started, I used to be at RE/MAX, and the way the RE/MAX worked was you pay them, you're on like a split. Okay. So the splits vary. They have a lot of different plans, but let's, for example, say that we're on a 70-30 split. Okay. So for every closing, the commission that you earn, you may keep 70% and you give Remax 30% of your commission until you pay them a certain amount. So it could be that every agent needs to pay them $20,000. So you're splitting your commission until you pay them that $20,000. Once you pay them that $20,000, then you may be at 100% commission, meaning you keep all of your commission for your closings. So those are the primary models of brokerages. You either have a flat fee or more of a transaction brokerage, or you have a full service, you're splitting your commission until you pay them that certain amount. And then you're at usually 100% or maybe 95% or however that works. Now, if you're trying to keep as much commission as possible, you may want to try to find a transaction brokerage. So let me stop for a minute. What are your questions so far? So somebody gave me a super sticker. Thank you so much for the super sticker. I really, really appreciate it. All right. So put any questions you have about that so far. Getting your license, getting under a broker. And I'm going to talk about how that would look, you representing yourself. Okay. All right. Somebody says, I'm in North Jersey. I'm trying to buy rental properties in Lithonia and Atlanta and Stone Mountain. All right, Melissa. All right. So any questions about what I've said so far? If not, I'm going to keep on going. Dorothy is joining us. Good evening, Dorothy. I think I put up already. Dorothy Gets Reels is from Florida. Hey, Candy says, hey, good evening. I'm watching from McDonough, Georgia, which is in Henry County for those of us in Georgia. Central Florida, Jacqueline. Okay. So, all right. So I'm definitely using my commission. Okay. So somebody says, St. James, I'm definitely using my commission to purchase a new home this year. I'm under a split brokerage. Okay. So then that's what he means. When I said the split, you might be at a 70-30, you might be at 80-20, 60-40, that sort of thing. All right. So let's talk about this a little bit more. So you get your license. Let's talk about how much that course may cost you. In most states, you probably can take the entire course for under $500. So in most states, I would say all in to take all the coursework online, it'll be $500 or less, because they all have like little add-ons. Like you might have like a study, like guide kind of thing you may add on to your course, or, some other types of add-ons. But for the most part, you can get yours. So if you're all adding up your fees, you would probably have to pay at least $500 to sit for the coursework, to go to class, like to take the course, and probably another few $100, depending on your state. Again, I would say maybe $200 or so to take the test for your state. So you're looking at that. Every state usually has a background check to make sure that you're not a criminal, right? To get your license. So, and that's usually less than $30, $40 to do a background check. So all of those things you have to think about if you are thinking about getting licensed, okay? So put your questions in the chat, and I'm going to keep on talking, and I'll take your general questions, okay? All right, so in this example, I said before, if I would say your commission may range from 2%, 3%. There's no set commission. Sometimes you'll find builders offering you 4% or 5% commission. There's not a set commission, but I see a lot of commission at 3%. So I use that as an example, and that would be $12,000. So if you minus your $500 course fee, say all in $1,000, by the time you pay for the test, pay for the background check, okay, you're still at about $11,000. And then if you paid your brokerage, say that you're in the transaction brokerage, because that's going to be more profitable for you, say that's another, $500, okay? And maybe a few more fees, $750. So at least I'm around that $2,000. You're coming back, you're going to get to credit toward maybe your transaction about $10,000. Okay, so that is something to think about. Now, and I did put this in here. Okay, broker fees. We talked about that. You're going to have to pay your broker something, right? But I would, if you are thinking about doing this as a way to kind of help you with your, your path to home ownership, if it feels like real overwhelming, like I'll never save as much money, this could be an option for you. You may have a few MLS fees. That's why I rounded the transaction costs and the MLS fees up to $1,000. And let's talk about mentors. On my last live, I talked about, as a new agent, you don't want to, a first-time home buyer shouldn't use a new agent without a mentor. So you are going to have to find a mentor through your transaction. But if you're a licensed agent, sometimes they'll have a program within your brokerage where you can work with a mentor. And sometimes they may want a percentage of your commission. It's going to vary. Like they'll walk you through your transaction, but they may want a percentage. Maybe your broker will help you and not charge you anything. So those are the things, if you're thinking about doing this for yourself, then those are the kind of the questions that you want to ask. But I would not, I'm gonna say this again, even for yourself, if you're the licensed agent, I would not do your first transaction without a mentor with you that could, guide you through the process, because you still have never done it before. So you still will need a mentor. That mentor may charge you. You want to try to find somebody with at least, some transactions under their belt. You want somebody that has been in the business for a long time. You want that sort of thing when you're thinking about getting a mentor. So that, my mic was slipping. So I want to talk about that. Please like and subscribe again. All right, now I want to take your questions. So I'm going to the questions and we're going to talk about, I'm going to prioritize, like that was kind of my opening, to at least open your eyes to the potential, right? Of this being an option for you. If you, want to use some more of that money, if you want to, save faster, if you want to use some of that money, you can use it for furniture, you can use it for whatever else. But I want to make sure that you all know that this may be an option for you. So as an agent, when agents are licensed, they are buying property, and they use their commission toward, their down payment or closing costs. And if they don't, they know that that money is going to be coming to them after closing if they don't use it directly in the transaction. So put all of your questions in the chat. I'm going to prioritize questions that are about the topic for tonight, representing yourself, what that looks like, and any questions about that. All right. But again, thank you guys so much for joining me. We have somebody from San Francisco. I don't know what time it is there, but thank you for joining me from San Francisco. Please put your questions in the chat. I'm opening it up to all your questions. Okay, so good evening from New Jersey. After you passed your license test, how many brokerage firms did you interview with before being hired? Okay, this is a big misconception, okay? So most brokerages, they want as many agents as possible because a lot of agents don't produce, right? So you have a lot of people paying you the monthly fee, and then you have a lot of people that you're going to get a portion of their commission or that transaction fee. So unless they're like a boutique brokerage, or say that you're trying to work for like one of these, these not social media, these, what is it called? I can't think of it right now. One of these like major real estate agents that are on TV, right? You're trying to work for them. And they may have, because, it's very tied to their brand, right? So they may have interviews, or if there's a small team and they're recruiting agent, they may have interviews. But for the most part, it's not very hard for you to find a brokerage that's going to take you. Like I didn't even have to interview. I just had to sign up. So sometimes it's just a sign up process. But if you're looking like to join a team of people, or if you're trying to join a brokerage that only has a few agents, so say they only have like 5 or 6 agents, then they may interview you to see if you're part of the team. But a lot of these large brokerages, they probably have like hundreds of agents. So they don't have time to interview people and decide who they're going to get. Now you can interview them to say, is this the brokerage for me? So you may interview them and say, hey, what do you have for training and how much is this? So you can interview them and find out some more about their company. But a lot of these brokerages, you just sign up for the most part. But that is a misconception. So the way I chose mine, when I talked about my best friend and she encouraged me to, get back into real estate, she was already at the same brokerage. So I just joined because she was there. And honestly, I just filled out, everything was online. I filled out the paperwork and I was under them. They do have like a online training after you join them. So like how everything works and that sort of thing. But there wasn't like an interview process where they had to hire me, because you're a 1099. All real estate agents are 1099 employees. So they can't set your schedule. They can't tell you when to come into the office. They can't, so it's not like they're hiring you. you're almost, for some people, you're just signing up with them. Now, other brokerages, again, if they're smaller or they have like a name and they're like trying to maintain that name, it's more of a small, they call them boutique brokerages, then they'll probably interview you because they want to make sure the team is all on the same page. But excellent question. All right, so let me see. St. James says it's 3:18. I'm in Cali. Thank you guys for joining me. Good evening, Hayness. Good evening. All right, so any more questions? I hear y'all talking about stuff. All right, we're not gonna put any of this in the chat. All right, so let's see. Do you have to renew the real estate license every year? So in Georgia, they're good for every 4 years. So you don't have to renew it every year. It's good every 4 years. So every 4 years, you have to take continuing education to keep your license. There's a set amount of hours of coursework you have to take. And there's like classes on different subjects like contracts and that sort of thing. But your license is good for every 4 years. And every 4 years, you have to renew it. So as long as you've done the continuing education, so I think it's 24 hours of continuing education in Georgia over the 4-year period. So as long as you've done that and you pay the renewal fee, then you can keep your license. So once you're licensed, don't let it lapse. Even when I had to let it lapse, I didn't have to, I could just pay the fees and make sure I had enough of the continuing education hours to get like caught up. So very good question. It's not every year, but it varies by state. So Georgia is every 4 years. But again, it varies by state. All right. Hannah says, I'm in Alpharetta and have a question. I was told it helps to have a realtor when looking at new construction. Yes. I don't advise that you buy a house without a realtor, unless you're representing yourself. You are the realtor, right? But yeah, I definitely, even with new construction, that sales agent is not your agent. That sales agent that's on site, they work for the builder. They do not work for you. And so you need somebody that's advocating for you. And I've talked about that several different times, but yeah, you definitely need somebody advocating for you that's representing you. Because if you go under a contract and you don't have your own representation, nobody's representing you. You're just by yourself. And you can't, when something, and it's really important for you to have when things don't go well, right? Something happens, it doesn't go well, everything's not smooth. And then you're like, well, I need an agent. And you can't add an agent later, because what happens typically is when that on-site agent signs you up, then they'll add on the paperwork, do you have an agent? If you say no, then they don't have to split their commission with somebody else. They keep the entire commission if they're not an employee of, like they're not on salary. They'll get to keep that commission and they don't have to split it with anyone. So it's not in their best interest for you to come in and add an agent after the fact. So you want to be very cautious when you're with new construction to make sure you let them know that you have an agent. All right, so go ahead. Okay, so any more questions about that? I don't see any questions about the real estate thing, but put that in there if that's something that you think that might work for you. I want to prioritize those, and then I'll take some just general questions, okay? But again, thank you for joining me. This is like my Black History special, because I'm going live every Tuesday and Thursday for Black History Month. All right, so put all of your questions. It could be about representing yourself in a transaction and keeping the commission, or it can be about just general real estate. So let's do that. Okay, let's see. Janelle says, as an agent, how would you approach a potential FSBO? And a FSBO, for everybody that doesn't know, is a for sale by owner. So a seller that's trying to sell their house by themselves without an agent in your neighborhood, and process of getting owner occupied, better interest rate loan by renting current home to qualify for Bank of America down payment. Like, you asking a lot of different questions in one question. I'll just take the first time home buyer question and then put the other questions separate in the chat. Okay. So, and I'm asking, okay, I don't know if you're an agent or if you're not. Okay, so I'll do both things. So if you have a for sale by owner property in your neighborhood and you don't have an agent, then I want you to find an agent before you approach the buyer. Approach the seller, because they can help you know the value of that house, how to negotiate, how to do that contract, all of that. You just still want to be protected even when you're dealing with for sale by owners. And the agent can work with that seller to make sure they get paid some commission and that the seller will pay. So if you're not an agent, that's what I want you to do. If you are an agent, the best thing for you to do is call them. Most brokerages have systems where you can find, like, you can give them the address and they will tell you the phone numbers of that property. So I would be calling them to see, you know, as much as you can about that property if you're trying to do it for a client. So if a client's interested in a for sale by owner, then I want you to, for your client, contact them, give them a call, stop. It's a little bit, you know, with everything going on, I'm not sure we should stop by, but of course you can write letters. Make sure they're like in a envelope that looks a little bit unusual, maybe a different color, maybe larger, so it stands out. So you're in contact with them. Sometimes they'll have open houses. Make sure you attend those, okay? And usually they just have their phone number, you know, to call them, but they get so many agent calls trying to get them to represent them, then sometimes they're not that responsive. So, but there's so many different ways for you to be in touch with them. All right, Janelle, if that wasn't your question, I want you to type it again. Just give me one question and make it really, really clear what you're asking. All right, so Creative says, this is kind of out of context, but do you know anything about the, I don't know about NAPA. I don't know if you're talking about NACA, NACA. If you're talking, I don't know anything about NAPA. I don't think, that doesn't sound familiar to me, but NACA, NACA, I do know about that, and I have 2 videos on my website about NACA. And I also have, if this is something that's interesting to you about representing yourself, I have a video on representing yourself. So we're going to put that in the chat as well. All right. Can you offer less than asking on a new construction? You can, but of course you can offer anything to anybody, right? So it doesn't, if somebody has a house that's $1 million, you can offer 500,000. Doesn't mean that they're going to accept it, right? So there, you need to, when you're approaching new construction and you want to offer less than what they're asking, you have to kind of see, are properties staying on the market longer than usual? Do they have discounts? Do they have incentives? How long has the property been on the market? So the answer is yes, but they're more likely to accept a lower price offer if they don't have any demand for what they have, or demand is low for their properties. So yes, the answer is yes, but you wanted to see how your market is. They'll be more likely to accept a lower offer if, you know, they're having trouble selling their inventory, versus, you know, everything's selling well and you come in with a lower offer. There's no reason for them to even consider that. And then a lot of times in new construction, if they take a lower offer on, so say they have, like, you know, they've sold some homes, they have 10 that have just recently been built, and they sell one of those homes for less. So say most homes are 500,000 and you come in and you offer 470, right? And they accept the 470. That makes the rest of their homes valued at less. So it's almost like, because they're going to be appraised. If you sell one for 470, that the other ones are lower in value because that's a comparable to the rest. So that's the risk that a new construction builder takes. If they take a lower offer on one property, right, then it's going to devalue all of their properties. So that's why it is less likely to happen with new construction homes. But good question. All right, between a realtor and lender, who makes the more money on commission? Typically the lender. Typically the agent. And lenders, I have a video about how lenders get paid, so you may want to watch that. But a lender, if they're a salaried lender, like they work for a company, they're not getting commission, then they may just have a salary and they're not making a certain amount on that. They're not making a certain amount. However, some lenders get like 1% of the purchase price. Like I said, a lot of, you know, agents get 3%, 4%, you know, it varies. So I would say the agent gets paid more than, but Lenders, sometimes they can take a higher volume because there's not that much one-on-one necessarily. They can get a lot of applications in, close them, and move them on. So, income in that area, a lot of lenders make a lot of money because they have a higher volume that they're able to take than like a one agent that has to work with, one-on-one clients. Okay. But my best guess is realtors on average, as far as each transaction, they're making more. But it could vary based on how that lender is getting paid. Okay, so I will be putting the license information before the class is over. All right, I will put it in. Miss Amin Ra, it's in the link of all of my videos. If you can find that link and put it in the comments. If not, if we don't get it in right now, we're gonna go ahead and make sure it's in the description of this video. Okay. All right, Rosemary says, do I have to get my real estate license to represent myself? Or when purchasing a home, can I do it with a broker or a loan officer? If this question is irrelevant, please disregard. So the first question is yes. So most license laws only allow for licensed agents to be paid a commission. So they cannot pay like just the buyer, here's $5,000 if you buy this house and we'll pay you cash. There's a lot of license laws that only allow commission to be paid to licensed people. So they can't, as a builder, say, hey, you buy this house, I'll pay you $5,000 cash, right? So there's a lot of laws that stop that from happening. So you do have to be a licensed agent to earn any kind of commission. Now you also say, or when purchasing a home, can I do it? Yes. So either you can represent the main benefit of representing yourself is that you get to keep some of that commission and you could possibly use it for, your down payment, your closing costs, for some of your moving expenses, things like that. So that's the benefit of representing yourself. But of course, yes, you can you can have a broker, you can have an agent, you can have, a lender with that transaction as well. This is just another option for buyers if they're, thinking about, possibly getting into real estate. Because a lot of first-time home buyers, they're at closing and they'll see the agent's check, like they didn't always realize how much that agent was going to get paid, and they see it and they're like, oh, I need to get into real estate. So I'm just trying to, give you that option ahead of time. Okay. All right, but good question, Rosemary. Should you get the down payment assistance first or pre-approval first? This is a great question, and it's a very popular question. So I did a video about frequently asked questions about down payment assistance, and this is one of them. So I'm going to answer it here, but I do recommend that you watch that video, frequently asked questions about down payment assistance. Okay. And the answer is it depends. Okay. So some down payment assistance programs you can apply for outside of a lender. You don't have to have a lender involved. You find the program, you apply, you get approved, then you find a lender. But a lot of down payment assistance programs are facilitated through lenders, right? So the lender is approved lender for that down payment assistance. So you have to go to the lender in order to get that particular down payment assistance. So that's why it depends. It depends on the program that you are interested in, whether or not you can go straight to the program or whether that program is facilitated through lenders. And if it is facilitated through a lender, then that program will have a list of their approved lenders, and then you go straight to that lender. But it really depends on what program that you're going to use as to whether or not you are going to go to the program first, like the program administrators, or if you're going to go to the lender. But I have a full video on frequently asked questions of people using down payment assistance. And it's on my down payment assistance playlist. Good question, Stacy. All right. So make sure also, I'm looking at the chat, make sure that you have a question mark with your question. Otherwise, I just think you guys are, talking to one another. Okay. Thank you, Janelle, helping. All right. So this person, they're back. I want to do a FSBO. Where do I solicit for qualified buyers? All right, let me give you a couple. Okay, so number one, as a FSBO, you can list on Zillow. You can pay Zillow. I'm almost positive. You can pay Zillow to have a listing as a FSBO on Zillow. So that is one place that I would go to list my property. I'd also go to Facebook Marketplace. Facebook Marketplace has a place for you to list your house or your rental property, things like that. I might go there. And then lastly, I would just have signage around your home, because there are going to be people that just drive by or they're in that neighborhood or are interested in purchasing. So those are the 3 places I would go. I would also, recommend that you offer a commission if the buyer has an agent. So you may save on your listing fee, so you're not paying an agent to list your property, but I would think about also, offering a commission to that buyer's agent, because a lot of agents may just pass over your property because that's not a property that they're going to get paid from. So you're not going to be open to as many people. And more, depending on your market, it's like a lot of statistics about you getting more money if you list, even because a lot of times people think they're saving money, but they list their house for too little. They don't do the paperwork right. They don't negotiate right. There's a lot of data on for sale by owners that they actually wind up netting less money than they would if they paid a realtor to list their house. So just be mindful of that, because sometimes it's not worth it, because you may not get as many people looking at your property that if you had an agent actually list that property and open it up to a bigger pool of people. All right, good question, P. Ford. Thank you. Hey, Sir Ashley, North Carolina. Great topic. Looking forward to these live streams. Yes, thank you. If y'all haven't checked out Sir Ashley's channel, it is excellent. He has a very calm voice. People tell me I'm loud, but he has a very calm voice. So, and he knows a lot about real estate, former attorney. So that's good to have. Like, I like that brain, that attorney and realtor brain. That's a good one to have. Thank you for joining me, Sir Ashley. All right, Rochelle, is it true that in order to use rental income from an FHA mortgage on one property, the second property I want to buy using FHA mortgage has to be 100 miles away from your first property? It sounds like Rochelle is trying to house hack. Okay, so what she's talking about, so FHA loans, and I got a lot of videos about FHA. Just go to my channel, click search FHA. So what she's talking about is FHA loans. The benefit of them, one of the huge benefits, is the low down payment. There's only 3.5% down for an FHA loan, right? So that's great. So a lot of people want to use those loans for the low down payment, but they're only for owner occupants, meaning you have to live in that property. Okay, you have to live in that property. That's why they're offering, it's a government-backed mortgage. That's why they're offering it at 3.5%, because you're going to own or occupy that property. And owner-occupied property is less risky than investment property, because if I own 2 properties, one I live in and one I'm renting out. If I have trouble financially, I'm going to keep my property because I'm going to keep the roof over my head, but I may let that other investment property go. So for a lender, your rental properties, your investment properties are more risky to them than your primary residence where you live. Okay. So some people, they're like, hey, I want to, build my rental portfolio, right? And I want to use an FHA loan 2 times, but you cannot own or occupy 2 places. Okay. Now you can't say I live here and I live here. You only can own or occupy 1 place, but FHA will allow, so say that I have an FHA loan and my job relocates me to another area and I didn't intend, right, to, leave my FHA loan, right, and buy another one, but I have to move. There's like a circumstance that I'm not living there anymore. So they will allow you to rent out that first house and get another FHA loan, but they're not going to allow you to do that in the same, like they have certain guidelines to avoid investors taking advantage of all these FHA loans. And one of them is a proximity. You can't, I'm going to live in this house and then I'm going to buy a house down the street, but I'm only occupying this one. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that you would, need to have 2 homes that close together, right? And rent out one. But it may make sense. Hey, I'm moving, to this other area and I can't, the commute is too far and I need to live in that other house. So that's what Rochelle is talking about. So that is very true. It's also the case, That was another case. I'm gonna leave it at that for that one. That took a long time on that question, but yes, that is true. All right. All right. Jay Troy, when applying for a mortgage, do you choose the loan program that you'd prefer, or do lenders let you know all of the programs you qualify for after application? All right. So most lenders that I've come in contact with are not going to say like, oh, we went over all the loans and this is the one you qualify for. Let you know why you don't qualify for this, or that. One of my most recent videos that I just did was like the truth about FHA loans. I kind of go into this, but most lenders, you're going to do your application. They're going to say, hey, you qualify for conventional, you qualify for FHA, right? And they may not tell you why you don't qualify for the other one. They may say that you qualify for FHA, but they never tell you, unless you ask, why you didn't qualify for conventional, right? So it's not, you can choose if you qualify for more than one. There are 4 primary. Watch that video. It kind of goes over that. So you may qualify for more than one, but there may be an advantage for you to be using one over the other. And some people don't qualify for all of them. They may qualify for one only based on their income, their credit, their debt to income ratio, all of that. So good question. Jeff says, if the seller is offering concessions, let's talk what concessions are. The seller offering to pay some of your closing costs, the seller offering to buy down your rate, the seller offering you some money for you to use in different ways. All right, that's what a seller concession is. Can you still offer a lower than asking price? Yes, you can do whatever you want to do, right? I have a video. I have videos for everything, I promise. I have a video, it says, beware or caution 2023, don't make an offer until you watch this video. And what I explained in this video is it depends on the market that you're in. If you are moving in your area to more balanced market or buyer's market, and there are no offers on that property, game's on, right? So you can offer less than asking, ask for closing costs. There are no set rules as to how you need to put this offer. The rules come in place when you're in competition with other buyers. Then I want to make sure my offer is, very attractive because I'm trying to beat out these other people. But if there's nobody I'm in competition with, I'm coming, hey, you don't have a lot of choice. Either you want to keep your house and not sell it, or you want to consider my offer, or you want to counter offer me. But if it's just me and, I'm not going to compete against myself, right? So if I'm the only offer that this seller is considering, then I'm going to make sure that offer is, something that's reasonable, but something that is, to my benefit. And if they don't like it, they could counter it, and, we can go from there. That would be my advice to you, Jeff. All right. All right. Hanus. Oh, Hanus is back. I hope I'm saying that's right. Hey, Shaheedah, I've been listening to you for some time and have learned quite a lot from the buying process. Keep up the work. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Miss Amra has posted that video that I talked about. I have a video so you understand how agents get paid. I have a video so you can understand how lenders get paid. It's important, in my opinion, for you to understand as a first-time home buyer, how's this person making money? How is this person making money? Because then you can understand what their motivation is when they're talking to you, what's happening. It's very important that you know how everybody makes their money. So I made videos specific to that, how everybody makes money. All right, everybody's going to get paid. Like, home ownership is a big part, like that transaction is a big part of the economy, because when somebody buys a house, they're basically employing an agent, they're employing a lender, they're going to, do some work on that house. So they're probably employing contractors, they're going to Home Depot, they're buying furniture. So buying a house is a transaction almost essential to the economy because buying a house elicits more purchases. Like, you're going to be purchasing more. You hired a home inspector, you're hiring an appraiser. So it's very important. Like, home ownership and the act of real estate employs a lot of different people in that process. All right, Elise says, at what point is it too late to get a realtor to represent you when you want to get new construction? A lot of builders say if you don't tell them when you go there, because this is where a lot of buyers mess up. They go strolling on a Saturday, going to all the new construction subdivisions, and they usually have you fill out a little card. And on that card, they're going to say, well, you have to register, right? And they'll ask you, do you have a realtor? If so, what's their name? So sometimes when you first go there, then it may be too late. Now, some builders will hold you to that, saying that you didn't have a realtor, because the whole concept of representation and having a realtor is that realtor is going to help you find a house. But if you're just driving down the road and you decide to stop into this subdivision, that realtor didn't help you find anything, right? Their marketing, their signs, their whatever helped you find that house. So, they can say, well, hey, you came to us. They didn't help you do anything, but also what that realtor does is helps you through that transaction. So that's, if you go unrepresented just to visit, then they may cut you off from having representation in the future. Now, this does vary by lender, but on my buyer's brokerage agreements, I usually put on the bottom, like in the special stipulations, I put like a paragraph. If you visit new construction on your own, then you're required to put me down as your agent. And if you don't, then it may be either you have to pay me yourself. If you still want representation, you may have to pay me yourself, because that builder may say, hey, you said you didn't have an agent, we're not going to pay her commission. So that's the risk that you take when you put that you don't have an agent and then you try to add one later. All right, thank you for that question, Elise. All right, so Candy, is it the same if you're looking to buy a home with a VA loan? My son and I decided this is our last year renting. Yes. And he will be using his VA loan. How would that work if I decided to be the agent? So, mom, yes, little mom, son representation. Love it. So it would work really well. So you would represent your son. I don't know if you would be on the loan. That's a whole nother process, but you can definitely represent your son in the transaction. And your brokerage can write a letter saying that you want some of your commission to go toward the closing costs. Okay. If you're not directly part of the transaction, you can write a letter saying that you want some of your commission to go toward his closing costs. Now, VA loans are 100% financing, so you can't do anything with that down payment, but he may have some other fees, closing costs, that sort of thing that you can use your commission to cover. And I did a video with, his name is Jimmy. I did a video with Jimmy, and it was a live. So go to my live link, and we talked about all VA loans. We did it for Veterans Day, and we answered every question that anybody had about a VA loan, including buying a house like with a non-spouse with a VA loan. So if you guys are trying to qualify together for the property with his VA loan, we talk about that. And if you have any other questions, I recommend you just reach out to him and get your questions answered. Thank you thank your son for his service. And I hope, it is my hope for you that this will be your last year renting. Good question. Thank you, Candy. All righty. Immersive experiences. I just purchased my first home yesterday. Okay, let's give them, everybody clap it up in the chat. Clap it up in the chat. I just purchased my first home yesterday. Congratulations. I plan to live in the property for a year, then renting the property after the first year. How would you recommend purchasing the next home? I'm in Georgia. So hopefully you heard what I said to the other FHA person. So you either can, you can use the FHA loan again, right? But you have to move, a certain distance away from that first house. What I would be doing now is talking to your agent saying, hey, my plan is, don't say that you're trying to invest. Just say, hey, I was thinking, for my future, if I rented this out, could I do another FHA loan, or could I do start talking about that now? But more than likely, if you're trying to do another owner occupant mortgage, you're going to have to go up. So that's what I wanted to tell her. So one of the options is moving farther away. Another option is buying a larger home, because they're always going to, they're trying to make sure investors aren't trying to use the system, basically. So a lot of times you can say, hey, we're having like a letter of explanation. Hey, I'm in like a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. I'm having kids, and you like write this. I need to upgrade to a larger home, and then that could be justification for needing another FHA loan, meaning you're going to rent that house out and then you're going to get another FHA loan. I'm not a lender, just been around a lot of lenders. So that could be your justification for needing to move up in house that is not 100 miles away, right? Because it's a larger home. Now, a lot of times you bought like your dream home maybe, right? And then you try to buy a smaller investment property. Now that's a red flag for FHA lenders, because they're like, hey, you just bought like a 4-bedroom, 3-bath house, and now you're saying you're going to downgrade to a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, because a lot of times your investment property is less expensive than your primary residence. So be mindful of that. They allow you to move up in home, but it's very difficult to get another FHA loan unless it's farther away. If you move down in home, down in like, size and square footage and all of that. I don't know if I have any lenders in the chat, but back me up on that one. All right. Thank you, Immersive. And again, congratulations. Sir Ashley really helped me out. Hit that like. Yes, please hit that like button. I appreciate it. Hit that like button. All right. Immersive, how much should I plan to save for a down payment? Now, if you're doing the method that I saw, you just, you can save another 3.5%. If you're not doing that method and you're buying an investment property and you're not going to own or occupy it, then you are going to save between 15% and 20% typically for investment properties. All righty. So Ms. Amin Ross putting everything in the chat. All right, I'm going. All right, let's see. Fidel, hi, how you doing? Put this on double speed so I can catch up. Hey, great. And I talk fast too, so you should be good. Closing on my second house, thanks to you. Whoo, thank you so much. Hopefully we'll get licensed for my third next year. Thanks for all your info, Shaheedah. Thank you, Fidel. I appreciate it. Congratulations on your second house. Yeah, I've been on this YouTube thing for a while now. People buying their second house. But yeah, congratulations. You've been through it twice. You're a pro. Go ahead and get your license. All right. Is there a way? Bible Talk 2. Is there a way to get rid of PMI on FHA loan? Y'all, I think I got some new people. So let me say a couple of things. One, subscribe to my channel because I answer all of these questions. But I'm going to answer this one. But I would watch my latest video on FHA, and then I have a video about getting rid of PMI. Okay. So the answer is no, unless you refinance outside of that loan. So the way FHA works, if you put down less than 10%, your mortgage insurance is for the life of the loan. If you put less than 10% down, your life insurance is for the life of the loan. Now, and that started in 2013, that new rule, having it for the life of the loan. So if you have people in your life, or if you're on here and you purchased a home a while ago, then you may be able to get rid of your mortgage insurance. But anybody that's purchased after 2013, that's the rule. The other part of that rule is if you make higher, if you put down higher, more than 10%, then the mortgage insurance stays with you for 11 years. So you don't have it for the life of the loan, but you have it for 11 years. So that's the difference. But please watch my video about how to get rid of your PMI, and then watch my video about FHA. What is it called? The truth about FHA. Watch those two videos. Thank you, Bible Talk. You trying to depress everybody? Hello, is Biden student loan forgiveness still available? No. So I'll update everyone. It's still in with the Supreme Court as to whether or not this is going to happen. I think they make their decision in June of this year. So that's what everybody's on hold. A lot of people saying it's not going to happen because, the Supreme Court leans conservative now. So we'll see. It's in June. All right. So T Swin, once your offer has been rejected, and the seller does not like it or accepts another offer, will they ever come back and reconsider your offer? Not if they don't need to. Okay, so what T is saying, you put in an offer, maybe you put in a low offer, or maybe they just didn't like the offer and they reject it. they may come back to your offer. Okay, so these are the choices the seller has. So when you put in an offer for a house, the seller can't ignore it. They don't have to respond to it. The agent may say received, so you know that they got it, but there's no obligation typically for a seller to respond to that offer. Okay, they could just ignore it. That's one option. The other option is that they can counter offer it. So if they don't like your offer, say you offer, let's go 100,000, you offer them 95,000, and they went up, they said, we'll take 97,000. They can counter offer you. Okay, that's their other option. So one is ignore you altogether. Number two is counter offer, or they can accept, right? They can accept that offer. Now, if they had multiple offers, which in the last 2 years, right? Not so much right now, but people are getting a lot of offers. So I would create like these Excel spreadsheets for my clients, and I would kind of rank the offers, like these are the top 5 or these are top 3, and they would look through them and select one. And so we didn't respond. I sent like a blast email, like it's a blast email to everybody that didn't get it with, hey, I'm so sorry you didn't get it. But the top 3, I would tell them, hey, you were number 2. If anything happens with this first offer, I would say, do you want to be a backup? So I would ask them if they wanted to be a backup offer, like in writing, a backup offer. And sometimes they would say yes, sometimes they would say no, but then I would do that. But I would keep those first 2, because if the first one fell through, then I wanted to be able very quickly to contact the other buyer. So sometimes that does happen. So I hope that answers your question. Thank you, T. All right. Do you have a video on the USDA construction loan in the process? I have a video. I interviewed the USDA director on for the United States, basically. And he talked about the construction kind of process, because he did himself the USDA construction loan. So I would watch that video, just put in USDA on my channel and it'll come up. I would watch that video that I did with him. Thank you so much. Ms. Amin-Ra did put in the video about like all the questions. If you're putting in offers in 2023 and you're in a balanced market or a buyer's market, watch this video. All right. I'm also putting in my course in the chat. All right. So I have a first-time home buyer. I'm not even calling it a course. It's a guide. It's basically going to take you step by step through the process so you don't make expensive mistakes in the process. So I would grab that guide, because a lot of the questions that you guys are asking are in that guide. So it's going to take you step by step so you know what to do and you don't make mistakes during the process, because your mistakes can cost you. All right, so let's keep on going. If a house is pending, can I still make an offer? Yes, you can make an offer. So a lot of the license laws say that as an agent that I have to present all offers to my client, even if it's under contract. So if any offers come in, I have to present it to my client. Okay. So, but I may be obligated, or my client may be obligated under the first, if they're under contract with another buyer, they can't just say, hey, I'm forgetting about you, right? I got a better offer over here. Typically, they're under a binding contract, so they can't really get out of that contract. So you can make an offer, but I guess your hope is that that first offer falls through and that, you're the next offer. So if I was making an offer on a pending home, a home that already has a contract on it, then I would ask to be a binding backup. It may be called different things in different states, but basically I want to go under contract in the second position. And how that helps you is if that first contract terminates, you're automatically the next contract. There's no renegotiation. There's no, well, I want more money. Whatever they accepted as the binding backup, then you're under contract. The first one terminates, you're automatically under contract. So that's a better position to be in than just saying I'm putting in my offer. So it's not really, anything that's sticking. It's just something that you're saying, hey, I got another offer if the first one falls through. All right. Thank you, Lynette. All right. Ms. Amra did put in how agents get paid. You have to know how your agent's getting paid, because most of the time, not all the time, you're not paying your buyer's agent directly. Okay, they're being paid by the seller. So another thing you have to make sure you understand. So please watch that video. I do have a referral link. So it's in all of my videos. Miss Amra, can you post my referral links, please? If not, it'll be in the description of the video. Thank you, Dorothy. Thank you all for the claps. I appreciate it. I'm gonna try to get through. Here's my VA video. So if you are a VA borrower, or if you know a VA borrower, then I need you to watch that video. It's really good. Happy Black History Month, everyone. All right, let's see what he says. Candy, thank you for the advice. He will be on the loan. I will tell him. Should I start with the agent basics and work my way along, or the full package? Looking at the site now. Start with the full, I would start with the package that includes the test prep, like the test preparation, because that'll be helpful to you. So I would start with that package. All right. I think I already answered this question. Hello, is it easier if my first home was conventional 2 years ago? Can I do an FHA now for investment property? It's going to be the same, because if you're applying for an FHA loan, you have to be an owner occupant. If they see that you already own a home, you already have a mortgage, that's going to be questioned. So you have to, work with your agent. Agents got a little workarounds for that, but nobody wants to be, accused of fraud and be in jail, so you see what happened to the Chrisleys. Like, agent's not trying to go to jail for any kind of anything. So, talk to your agent, talk to your lender, explain to them what you're trying to do, and see, is there any way that this can happen, right? It's like taxes. When you don't go to your accountant and say, can I write this off? You say, how can I write this off, right? You don't say, can I write this off? You say, how can I write this off, right? So it'd be a different discussion. All right, let's see. Dee says, hi, we're right at about 7 o'clock and I'm gonna keep it. So I'm gonna answer 3 more questions. That's it. Hi, I was told that I could refinance, switch lenders within the first 45 days after closing before my mortgage is due if the rates are lower. Is that true? Possibly. Okay. And I say possibly because you have to make sure your deed is recorded. Yeah, and that could vary by state, because you have to show that you're the owner of that home. That's a really tight turnaround for you to go with one lender and refinance that quickly. Everything would have to happen perfectly for that to happen within 45 days, in my opinion. So it's possible. I'm not saying it's not possible, but that's a quick turnaround. And I mean, rates would have to, if you're closing 45 days, rates would have to drop drastically for even to make sense for you to do it. Because think about that. You've already paid closing costs. You paid for the house. Like, rates would have to drop like 1.5%, or for a rate to drop, and it's not a pandemic or anything, but for an interest rate to drop 1% in 45 days is less likely right now. So watch my video about when it makes sense to refinance, because even if you can refinance after 45 days, it probably wouldn't make sense for you to refinance after 45 days. So watch that video. All right. I think you see who's going to be lucky with these last 3 questions. Make sure you're getting my first time home buyer guide. Orlando Miller's in the house. Hey, Orlando. If y'all want to see me in Orlando for Black History Month, put it in there. If y'all want to see me, Orlando, and Sir Ashley for Black History Month, let me know. We're going to put together a special live. All right. And Orlando said, happy Black History Month. All right. Beautiful. I've been approved for my final loan. I'm elated. Thank you for your knowledgeable words. Thank you. Congratulations. All right, EB. I'm under contract. This is one of 3. I'm under contract for new construction, and I'm paying a portion of realtor's commission because builder only pays a set amount. So just double check all paperwork. So yeah, make sure, like I said, for the most part, right, the builder or the seller will pay your agent's commission. But you got to find out from the front, right, of who's paying what. Like, you want to make sure you're very, very clear about who's paying what, because that's more money out of your pocket, right? So when majority of my clients, when I took a lot of clients, were first-time home buyers. They wouldn't have the money to pay me, to be honest with you, because they were already paying their down payment. They were paying their closing costs. And I was like, hey, I need, 3%. So I had to make sure that seller was going to be paying my commission. So make sure you're having those conversations with your agent. All right, if y'all want to see that collab, Orlando, Orlando, Sir Ashley, and I know Sir Ashley, I've never met Orlando, but I've seen his videos. So that might be a good discussion. All right, let me see. Let me see what this says. All right, so my realtor keeps telling me to fix my credit. She has her team working on my credit, but why won't she just let me pay 10% with my 500 credit? I'm confused. Okay. All right. And I make a lot of agents mad. A lot of agents, they doing too much. They doing credit repair. They represent you on the house. They probably selling Turo. They got multiple streams of income. I like the focus, right? For the most part. Like, I don't try to do a lot of stuff with my clients. Like, I'm selling them a whole bunch of stuff. I just want to be their agent. All right. But this is an option for you, right? And your agent is not your lender. Be very clear about that. Your agent can recommend a lender, can, that sort of thing, but they're not your lender. So they're not stopping you from doing anything with your mortgage. But FHA does have an option. So FHA, the minimum to do the 3.5% down, the minimum credit score is 580. But if you want to put 10% down, you can have a lower credit score with some lenders. Make sure you watch that FHA Truth About FHA video with some lenders. So this is an option for you, but be very careful. Your agent does not hold your mortgage, right? Your lender does. And if your agent just saying, if your agent just is telling you to go to one lender, that's a red flag to me as well. So I'm going to end on one more thing. I'm going to answer one more question, then I'm going to end. All right. Because I have a lot of videos on all the stuff that you guys are asking in the comments. All you got to do is search. All right. Portia says, let's see you, Orlando and Sir Ashley. Let's do it. Okay. I'm going to end with this question, but okay. And I'm also going to say something else about how your agent should be working with you. All right. So love the channel and the content. Thank you, Tony. I'm not sure if you talked about this already or in a different video, but there are realtor programs where you get some of the commission, but they don't call it commission, right? They say that we'll give you a rebate or we'll give you a credit. A lot of credit unions have that, like we'll give you a percentage. So he is correct that you may find some programs, you don't have to be licensed, but they're offering you a rebate if you use their realtor. Like if you use one of their in-house agents kind of thing, then they'll allow you to them to rebate some of their commission to you. So yes, that is very true, Tony. Thank you for sharing that. Tony said he got it with Navy Federal with their Realtor Plus program. And how that works is you get your mortgage through Navy Federal. They have a set of agents that they work with. And for that agent to be part of that program, they agree to rebate some of their commission to the buyer. So good point, Tony. I don't have a video about that, but yes, good point. All right, so I want to end on this, and Ms. Amra put when refinancing makes sense. All right, so this is what I wanted to bring up. When you're dealing with a agent, so you're shopping around for an agent, be very mindful of if they're selling you. This is the lender you should use, and they don't give you any other options. This is the home inspector you should use, and they don't give you any other options. Okay. Because number one, that agent is setting themselves up for liability with only giving you one person, only giving you one contractor, only giving you one inspector. When I take a client, you're going to get a list. I think I have at least 5 lenders that I've worked with in the past. They all specialize in different things typically, but I'm going to give you a list of agents. And I'm going to say, hey, this person does this person does that. I'm very true to get 3 quotes. They could be the quotes from my people. It could be a quote from you, but I want you to get 3 quotes. I've sat at closings and I'm looking at people that only went with one person and their interest rate. I'd say I did a closing on Monday and a closing on Thursday, and their interest rate is like much higher with like similar profiles, right? So make sure that your agent should be giving you options. They should say, hopefully people they've worked with in the past, right? But here are your options for your lenders. If they're recommending lenders, they should never just give you one person. Okay, that's number one. Number two, they should never just give you one home inspector. My home inspector list, probably 7 home inspectors. Because what if they're giving you the person that makes sure they push deals through? What if they're giving you somebody that overlooks some things? Because home inspectors can kill a deal if they tell you, hey, this house, got all these issues. You don't want that. So it's more work on your end because now you have to vet their list, but you're going to be in a better situation in the long run instead of them just giving you one person. Like I brought this up because of the credit person who said, hey, she's working on my credit and, but she won't recommend that I just put down 10%. That's not her job to recommend that you put down 10%. That's a lender to say, okay, these are the options you have at 500 interest, 500 credit score, right? So if somebody comes to me and they're like, I have a 500 credit score, I might look through my list and say, well, these 2 lenders, they work with people with lower credit scores. You should call them. But I'm never going to just give you one. Okay. So you're going to get a list. You should get a list of lenders from your agent and get a list of home inspectors from your agent. And it's up to you to vet them and to choose one that you feel like is best for you. Okay. So I'm going to end it on that. Next week, Jamal, your favorite home inspector, get here early, you guys. Make sure you're getting my first time home buyers guide in 24 hours of this video. Everything will be timestamped. So you'll be able to see timestamps and go straight to your question. Thank you. Tell a friend. Join me every Tuesday and Thursday this month for Black History Month. Thank you, guys.